And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Monday, August 5th, 2024. And if you need additional weather information, you can always go to weather.gov, and that will bring you to the National Weather Service's online website. And you point and click anywhere on this map, and it will give you very specific forecast along with any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories for anywhere in the country. Quick check of the lower 48. Most importantly, we had Hurricane Debbie come on in shore here through the Big Bend region of Florida, and now the threat is still tropical storm. We have tropical storm warnings here along coastal South Carolina, southeast Georgia, but it's the rains, the potential for catastrophic river flooding as a result of rainfall amounts along the especially South Carolina coast that could be as much as 15 to 20 inches, locally 30 inches of rain over the next few days. So bad situation down there. We have tornado watch, southern Minnesota, northeast Iowa, and then very hot temperatures, excessive heat warnings in the southwest around Las Vegas, Death Valley, and red flag warnings to the north up there across Idaho as a result of dry conditions and the potential for dry thunderstorms. But in Alaska, the big weather story is the flood warning in the vicinity of Juneau for Mendenhall Lake and River. The Suicide Basin Glacier Dam released late Sunday morning, and now this process is in full swing. The flood warning goes through 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. We are now expecting a historic crest, a half a foot higher than last year's catastrophic flood. And that will happen sometime between midnight tonight and 4 a.m. Tuesday morning. Flood watches for lesser flooding, minor flooding possible, parts of the Seward Peninsula, Kodiak Island, the eastern Kenai up into western Prince William Sound now through midweek. And then areas of the eastern mainland and panhandle have seen temperatures well into the 80s, as warm as 80 degrees along the Arctic coast this afternoon at Dead Horse. And with some stronger downslope winds on the backside of the Alaska Range, middle upper Tanana Valley, we have increasing fire danger for the day on Wednesday. So let's take a look at the situation there on the Mendenhall River and Mendenhall Lake. We have the Suicide Basin where all this water accumulates within this glacier dam, and it reaches a point where finally the pressures of all the water built up has to release. That happened late Sunday morning. So we began to have all that water flowing down into Mendenhall Lake out of Mendenhall Glacier and that Suicide Basin up here. Well, now the water's entered the river system, and the river is seeing rapid rises in water levels, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. We're expecting an historic crest in the neighborhood of 15.5 feet coming up overnight this Monday night into early Tuesday morning coming down the river. There's potential for a lot of debris, including trees, rocks and stuff to be pulled down as a result of these incredible river level heights. Now, good news is residents, people along the river have had plenty of time. We've known this is going to happen. We gauge things according to what the event was like last year, which was catastrophic. So there have been preparations. Roads are closed. People have moved things that they can. But the main thing now, authorities want people to stay out of the river corridor, avoid those flood waters, and obey those closed road blocks and things like that, and any type of staying out of neighborhoods, so forth, that are going to experience flooding, because we don't want anyone to get hurt. Here's a hydrograph. This shows that as of early afternoon, we've already pushed up into moderate flood category, and we're expecting a crest now about 15.5 feet around 2 a.m. Overnight tonight into early Tuesday morning. And then just as fast as things rise this evening and overnight, they're going to come down during the day tomorrow. And the flood warning runs through 4 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. So this is a very quick hitting event, but very powerful flow of water. And on this side here, I'm just going to reiterate potential for a historic crest at around 15.7 feet. At 14.5 feet, Meander Way will be under 2 to 4 feet of water. The water start Andrus lowest levels of several homes there on Meander Way. And then water will start to flow into backyards along Kilwich Drive and onto Riverside Drive near Melvin Park. Significant flooding of multiple homes are expected there along View Drive at 15 feet. Up to 2 feet of water will be covering Kilwich Drive. Water starts to enter the backyards of houses along the south side of Marion Drive, River Court Way, Lakeview Court Center, as well as Park View Court. Turn Street, Northland Street could have up to 1.5 feet of water over the road and up to a foot of water covering Riverside Drive at Tourneur Street. So significant flooding is expected with this event. Quick check now of some other things happening. Let's look at the cameras across parts of the state. Look at this dead horse. It's Monday afternoon, mostly sunny. It hit 80 degrees since I created this graphic. Dead horse hit 80 today along the Arctic coast. And then we have White Mountain on the south side of the Seward Peninsula. And north of there, plenty of rain, low clouds. There could be some minor flooding of roads and creeks and rivers as a result of 2-3 inches of rainfall expected through the day Wednesday. Now, Homer starting to see the rain moving up from the south. Already Kodiak City had 3 inches of rain today with more on the way. Same system will bring heavier rainfall along the eastern Kenai Peninsula up into western Prince William Sound through the day Wednesday into Thursday. So we'll likely have some additional updates regarding the flooding potential there along the west side of the Gulf. And then Harris River down here in the southwest portion of the Panhandle, removed inland, has been as warm as, I'll step out of the way here if I can do that effectively. It's kind of a trick. 83 degrees. It's been 87 in a couple of spots there in the southern Panhandle, Haida being one of those. I just didn't have a camera to show you. It's also been in the mid-upper 80s in portions of the east central interior. So aside from the flood warning for the Glacier Dam outburst there in the Juneau area on the Mendenhall Lake and Mendenhall River, we have flood watches here in the interior Seward Peninsula, along the western Gulf, Kodiak Island up through the eastern Kenai, western Prince William Sound, as well as on the other side of Shelikof Strait and on the other side of Cook Inlet, Kamishak Bay. This area here where you have that rapid rise in the terrain really enhances the rainfall. And these flood watches in effect through Wednesday. And then we have wind advisories along the Alaska Range. Strong southeast winds gusting 45, 65 miles an hour. And then on the other side of the Alaska Range, the downslope winds, the Chinook winds, we're seeing temperatures mid and upper 80s in the Tanana Valley. And tomorrow, the warmest temperatures will be here along the Elkham border, upper Tanana Valley, mid-upper 80s. So fire danger will be rising throughout this region with gusty winds and very warm temperatures. And we've had temperatures in the 70s to around 80 degrees up along the Arctic coast this afternoon, and yet another warm one coming up for the day Wednesday. And as I told you several days ago, the fire danger would be creeping up here across the eastern interior and along the Elkham border. That has happened. We have very high to even extreme fire danger just downslope there of the eastern Alaska Range in the upper Tanana Valley for the day Tuesday, and we expect that that trend could continue into midweek as well. So looking at what we have for the weather situation, the ridge of high pressure responsible for the very warm and drier conditions, the Panhandle, Northern Gulf, up and through this region, is beginning to break down. It's still going to hold, but what we're watching is there's a massive trough over the Gulf of Alaska. We have a system lifting north. This is an atmospheric river. The origins of this moisture goes way down into the Pacific, and guess what? The slow-moving front that's just going to go like this, very slowly over the next couple of days, is just going to be a conduit for this moisture to be pulled into Kodiak Island and along the eastern Kenai, Prince William Sound. Even the Anchorage area could pick up over an inch of rainfall between Wednesday morning and early Friday morning. And then we have just back here along the west side of the state, as I told you, just wet, occasionally breezy. There's just been one system after another just bringing bouts mainly of light, moderate rain, but after a while it adds up. And that's been the case. So let's look. We have this occluded front that continues to push slowly eastward. We have another little low disturbance lifting north. This is eventually going to pull further north. That's just going to allow this front to slowly work its way east. The reason this front isn't blowing through the western Gulf like it might normally do is that we have this ridge, this strong, not just ridge at the surface, but mid and upper level ridge in the atmosphere that's blocking the progress of this front. So when that happens, it just is almost stationary, but just very slowly works its way east, and then that moisture, that atmospheric river can just, the front is a conduit to just guide that moisture, and you can see where it's pointing toward. And areas along here, 3-6 inches of rain would be nothing over the next couple of days. The clearing skies, warmer temperatures will prevail here across the Panhandle as of this afternoon. Some of those clouds starting to spread a little further east, and as I said, eastern Arctic coast seeing very warm temperatures. And come late tonight, early Tuesday morning, that front hardly works its way east. We have more energy out there toward the tip of the Alaska Peninsula, and then come Tuesday afternoon, here we have the front just kind of sitting in the same place as another piece of energy lifts northward of the main initial low sitting here near St. Lawrence Island on Tuesday afternoon. And as we go into Wednesday, finally the front starting to slowly work its way east, but it's not going to make a lot of progress east because this ridge is still stubborn and holding in place over western Canada, the Panhandle, and along the Alcan border. So let's look at temperatures. Mild temperatures coming up. Generally readings above 50. We're seeing lows in the 50s. Maybe 48 there at Juneau with clear skies and a few pockets, some of the normally cool spots in the Copper River Basin, but otherwise generally temperatures above 50. Come again Tuesday afternoon, 80 degrees around not just Juneau, but also again southern Panhandle. There's going to be some lower 80s, I'm sure. 75 Copper River Basin at Gulkana, Glen Ellen, just because clouds are going to try to increase a bit, but definitely the reason you see cooler temperatures across the Anchorage Bowl back toward the south and west, Homer, Kodiak City, this is just going to be Rainsville along here. But that's keeping the temperatures down. But the nighttime temperatures with the clouds stay up. We're looking at lows generally mid-upper 50s. And then temperatures with cloud cover and rain Wednesday overspreading much of south central, highs only in the low 60s. But where there is still some sun, southern Panhandle, there could be mid-70s to near 80 degrees. And looking at the far north, check out some of these lows. 50 along the Arctic coast, 75 come Tuesday afternoon at Deadhorse, 72 at Kaktovik, even lower 60s here along the Arctic coast between Utqiagvik and Cape Lisburne. 88, maybe even an isolated 90-degree reading in here through along the Alcan border, eastern interior, but fire danger will be very high to extreme in this area, especially with any gusty winds. Cooler, wetter weather along the west coast, 50s for highs, even 46 there at Savunga and St. Lawrence. Lows Wednesday morning still quite mild, though 40s on the west side there, the west coastal areas. And then afternoon highs, notice how a little cooler air, more cloud cover coming eastward, so we're getting temperatures still in the 80s, could squeak out a near 90 reading there around Eagle, but otherwise there is some advancement with the cloud cover and the rain across the western half of the mainland. So the interior southwest, lows above 50, could be down around 46, Macquarie, 43 St. Paul, upper 40s, eastern Aleutians. And then temperatures Tuesday afternoon don't really go anywhere with the cloud cover and areas of rain or rain showers. Highs generally in the 50s to 60 Bethel, maybe 60, 61 King Salmon, only 57 with the rain. The heaviest rain starting to lift out of Kodiak City. And then lows Wednesday morning, again, generally above 50 in the middle upper Yukon, as well as the Kuskokwim Basin, but along coastal areas, mid and upper 40s, same thing, mid-upper 40s down along the eastern Aleutians. And then temperatures Wednesday afternoon generally in the 50s across the southwest coast and even nudging up into the interior. And let's look at the 6 to 10 day outlook as I was talking about leading into mid-month. August 11th through the 15th. We expect the trend for below normal temperatures over the southwest two-thirds of the mainland centered around Cook Inlet, lower Alaska Range, southwest interior including Dillingham, Kodiak City back towards Sandpoint, Unalaska. Best chance for above normal temperatures up here in the northeast corner near northeast of Arctic Village, Kaktovik, as well as maybe the southeastern part of the Panhandle. Rain-wise, precipitation averages above normal across the mainland, centered on south central, back up through the northwest, and perhaps slightly drier than normal across, at least less precipitation than normal here over the southern portion of the Panhandle.